Welcome to Clockworks, a Legion podcast. I'm Paul Moffat.
I'm Jan Moffat.
And this is the podcast that's only right twice a day.
Like a clock.
Get it?
Good job.
Thanks. Remember at the end of our last episode of Clockworks how I was like, oh, we're going to release an episode of Clockworks every 2 weeks or so during the break. And then we released exactly one in like the months.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. You, listeners, you should know that as soon as we ended recording, Jan was like, there's no way we're going to be able to release that many. And I was like, we might be able to. And no, she was right.
You're always a lot more optimistic on your time management skills than you actually are.
I have a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the things. But there has been Legion news.
Legion news.
So we wanted to record and catch everybody up and talk a little bit about what's going on with Legion. Jan, do you want to catch us up?
So, recently there was some major casting news, major news on Season 3 of Legion. So Season 3 of Legion will be the last season. Now, a lot of people are sad about this, but we kind of knew it was coming. So Season 3 is going to be the last season. There's also been some casting news for Season 3, which is that Professor X has been cast. He will be played by Harry Lloyd, who you might know from Game of Thrones. He's Viserys Targaryen. Viserys? Whatever. The brother of the Queen of
the Dragon Queen.
Dragons. I cannot get that out.
Khaleesi.
The
brother of Khaleesi. Khaleesi.
Who, spoiler, dies in the first season.
Yeah.
He also plays, I remember him from Doctor Who. He plays Baines in the Family of Blood episode.
Yep.
Also, they have cast from Mr. Robot, Stephanie Cornelison, who is playing David's mother.
Yeah.
So I am over the moon with these casting news.
Yeah.
Also joining the cast is Lauren Tsai. She's a new character who is known as Switch. We've been told that the next season is going to contain David in some kind of commune, it being a few years later. So there's lots that's been released that's happening, but not a lot of detail, of course.
Of course.
Frankly, I don't want to know a ton of detail going into it. I'd prefer just to go in mostly blind.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, the major thing is what we suspected is true. Legion is 3 seasons.
And, if you remember, we learned that in our interview with
Jeff
Russo. His Twitter handle is Jefferson Russo, and I just had a moment where I was like, our interview with musician Jefferson Starship. No, that's not right. Jeff Russo. He said that when Noah first approached him, it was with a 3-season plan.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are talking as if it's been cancelled. I don't think that's accurate at all. I remember Noah Hawley talking about Fargo and they wanted to do a 4th season and he wouldn't do a 4th season until he had an idea for a 4th season.
Mm-hmm.
And Legion hasn't had the ratings that Fargo has, but I think that FX is happy enough with Noah Hawley that if he wanted to do a 4th season of Legion, they would let him do a 4th season of Legion.
Yeah.
He said in an interview, and I think it's so correct,
mm-hmm.
that endings are what give stories meaning.
Yeah.
The kinds of stories that Noah Hawley wants to tell are stories with endings. So I'm actually, although I love Legion and want there to be lots of it, I'm really happy that it's ending, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going on forever. And I'm really looking forward to because I also think endings give stories meaning.
Yeah, I think there'll be a solid ending, and I like that idea.
And it's going to change, I think, how we understand the first 2 seasons. Because it can't not. Because endings give stories, that's part of what's meant by endings give stories meaning. Like, not that, and I don't think it'll change what the first 2 seasons mean, as in, like, in a hacky, it was all, it might be all a dream for all I know, but in, like, a twist way.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of themes and ideas and the development and where we started and where we ended and how people have grown and the things that make stories matter.
Absolutely. So I'm really looking forward to that. Let's talk a little bit about this casting news. Both of these actors are young, who are playing Professor X and Gabrielle Heller. They're not the age to be David. He's a 30-year-old David's parents. They're also in their 30s. So I'm guessing this is going to be some flashbacks, possibly even time travel.
Well, we know there's time travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not Dan Stevens' parents' age.
No, exactly.
For sure.
So I'm excited about that, about them doing some time traveling, seeing some... I wonder if he'll be in the wheelchair or not.
Yeah.
We don't really know. So, yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. Both of those actors, I really like what I've seen them in. I don't think I know Lauren Tsai from anything.
No, I don't think so either.
But I'm looking forward to that too. Do you want to take a very brief moment of unfounded wild speculation?
Yes. They travel back in Sid travels back in time to stop David from ever being born. That's my theory on why his parents are in it. She fails. I think that I don't think the whole thing's going to be a dream, but I do think the whole thing is going to be a closed loop. Yes.
So that we end having brought about the events that are going to start season 1.
Yes.
That's my unfounded speculation. And I think that Professor X and what's her name? His mother. Gabrielle. I think it's going to be a time travel, not a flashback situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's my unfounded wild speculation. Anything else we want to talk about in this little brief catch-up episode of Clockworks?
I wanted just to say that, to be clear, the end of Legion the show will be the end of Clockworks, a Legion podcast. However, we have lots of other projects that you can find us on. We'll produce many episodes with this last season, including some wrap-ups and some end ones, and who knows if we can find some interviews. But after Clockworks, a Legion podcast is done and retired, you can find us on our other podcast, Way Too Seriously. And also, Paul has started Clockworks Academy, which he is teaching university-level classes that you can take and hear lectures. He is doing one right now on Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. Next, he'll be doing some Dracula classes. He is a fantastic teacher. I'm saying all this because he doesn't want to. He's too embarrassed to pump himself up. But Paul is an excellent teacher, and already the students that he's teaching right now said that they were underpaying for what they were getting. And so if you're interested in some serious academic rigor and some fun lectures from Paul, then check out Clockworks Academy.
And that's a webpage, clockworksacademy.com.
Sure is.
You can find everything there. We'll talk to you again soon. We're planning to record 2 episodes tonight, so the other one will be a bonus, and maybe it already came out, or maybe it is coming out right after this one, but you can tune into that one, and we just might come back for other things before Legion starts up again. I'm not going to promise one every 2 weeks, but I am going to promise that when something strikes us as having a connection to Legion, we're thinking Clockworks.
Thanks for listening. I've been Jan Moffat.
I've been Paul Moffat. Goodbye.